Dude on drugs with a 2 feet sword at Walmart. Context. So, both my fiance and I work at Walmart. We live in a smaller town in Colorado, and right now there's a stage 2 fire ban due to all the fury shit going on. Meanwhile, you can't even smoke a cigarette outside without potentially getting a $1,000 fine. Also worth mentioning that because we live in such a small town, the cops and fire department don't have much else to do other than patrol parking lots for public cigarette smoking. Anyways, we both smoke cigarettes and both of our cars had different issues right now, so we've been sharing one car. We can only smoke in our cars on our breaks for now, and since he was working and I wasn't, I visited him on his break so we could spend a few minutes in a cigarette together. I pulled up to the front of Walmart and thinking he could only take a minute to get to me, put my emergency lights on and waited. After a couple of minutes, a car drives past me but slows down and rolls his window down a bit without saying anything. The guy in the car didn't stop, call out or even stare at me for a very long time before parking, but something still creeped me out a little bit. I called my fiance and told him to try and hustle a little, mentioning the guy that weirded me out. I understand I have my emergency lights on, but I mean, people do this outside of Walmart for brief amounts of time all day, and who conveniently breaks down in front of Walmart anyways. While still on the phone with my fiance, I noticed the guy get out of his car and walk into the Walmart through the rear view, but instead of continuing in, he cuts immediately towards the side door I was parked by. He comes out the side door, and I see him holding what looks like a baseball bat. So I'm freaking out at this point, because this guy starts walking towards my car at the same time my fiance is also walking up close to my car, getting out of his part-time shift. Creepy guy gets the right corner of my hood, standing there, but what I can now see is a 2 to 3 long sword with a sheath over it, looking past my car like he's looking for someone or pretending to look for someone. The guy also has a fucking assortment of knives that slide into a belt around his waist like Batman. I managed only a few glances at his face without trying to be noticed, but I could definitely tell this guy was on drugs. Hard to tell which, but I guess meth based on his eyes and paranoid actions. Fiance finally approaches the passenger door when Meth Man turns to him, and I'm ready to lay on the horn or something as a distraction, but Meth Man surprisingly does nothing but spontaneously walk past him, and Fiance safely gets into my car. This guy keeps walking, I pull away and park further into the parking lot, and my fiance and I talk a little about how scared we both were, not knowing what the fuck this guy was doing. A little more terrifying, a car had been giving me trouble on the way there, and so I test drive it around the lot with my fiance during his break, only proving the problem more urgent. Fiance was only on a 15-minute break, so I had him call our police department and report this, just asking them to come check it out since he had 2 hours left, and I was tripping out after Meth Man had seen both our faces. I was number 1 scared he might follow my love into Walmart with his fucking sword and try something, or 2, follow me home. After the cops came and tracked my fiance down in the aisle he was stalking, they got the description and immediately knew who he was. Turns out, they knew where he lived. A trailer park across the street from Walmart, and they actually have been watching out for him because of a previous incident with a security guard at our store. The incident went like this. Security guard stopped him for something. Guy came back a few days later and asked security guard, "What are you still doing in my town?" To which the security guard replied, "What do you mean I lived here? Not for long." Like, what the fuck? I feel like it's also important to mention we live in a small tourist attraction town, and the population is predominantly richer old people, because it's a nice retirement town, but it's very expensive. You see people strapping AKs to their Jeeps. Not kidding, but not meth heads with swords. Anyways, I guess they found him in the parking lot and warned him that if he was seen around Walmart again, let alone carrying anything larger than a 10-inch knife, he was going to be arrested. Haven't seen him since, and I'm glad. Guns are scary, no doubt, but in our town, a lot of people keep them on their waist, so it's not as alarming. However, creepy, drugged-looking men with a 2-foot sword in his hand, let's not meet ever. I apologize for the drawn-out story and all. First post, and this is just how I talk in general, just significantly freaked me out, and I love the sub, Is he just messing with me? So this actually happened to me just last night. I was still pretty shaken up by the experience and promptly quit the shitty part-time job right after. I work at a retail store in a not so nice part of town. Since the area isn't the best, not many people ever come into the store, and even less people come in at night. Something important to note is that the store does not have any cameras, nor does it have a panic button. So basically, anyone could do anything, and we've had many people steal little things here and there. Looking back, this should have been my first clue to quit ASAP. Working this night shift was me, a very small girl, and my coworker, basically the exact same height and build as me. We were joking around and playing on our phones because it was about 7:30 p.m. at this point, and no one had come in for about an hour. Suddenly a group of people, 2 men and 1 woman, come in all at once. A side note about these people, they're all wearing black head to toe, facial tattoos, and were very confrontational upon arrival. The woman was a very husky woman, and I was honestly very intimidated by her. Her friends, the 2 men, were at least 6 foot each, towering over both me and my coworker, who were both 5'3". One of the men immediately asked us what our ages were and complimented me on my smile. I'm kind of awkwardly laughing and trying to be as kind as possible to get these people to leave fast. The woman basically corners my coworker over in one of the aisles, so she's unable to walk over to where I am, which is right behind the counter. The woman is basically yelling at my coworker, asking her, "Why don't you hire me? I need to work. Hire me," pretty much scaring the both of us. While this is going on, one of the men walks over and blocks the door. The other man comes up to the counter and looks at all the $100 and $300 items we have stocked behind the counter and jokes to his friend about how he needs all these items. He then turns to me and says with a deadpan face, "Give me everything." I awkwardly laugh and say, "Everything?" He then says nothing and continues to stare right into my face for 5 more seconds before repeating, "Everything." So I do just that. I start to take things off the shelves while he points at the thing saying, "Give me that, that." He then stops and says, "You never asked me how I was going to pay for any of this." The entire time, his friends are saying nothing and standing still while staring at me. The man then breaks a stare and laughs, prompting all his buddies to laugh along with him, and states that they are going to come back. As soon as they leave, I make a beeline to the door and lock it. I call my manager and tell her what happened, and I'm begging her to let us close, because I do not want these people to come back. As if on cue, they come back and yank on the door, which is locked, and continue to yank it. I tell my coworker to run with me to the back, and we lock the back room door and call the police. By the time the police arrive, they are gone, and nothing can be done because of the lack of any cameras in the store. The police stay outside the store in their cars until we closed and walked me to my own car. Throughout this whole ordeal, no one was in the store besides my coworker and I. My theory was that they were scoping out the situation before leaving and coming back with a firearm to actually carry out the robbery. Luckily, I locked the door the moment they stepped out. I don't like to think about what could have happened if I had brushed it off and decided to leave the store open, but I was shaking like a leaf when they left, and they hadn't really done anything at all, so I trusted my gut feeling. So anyways, let's never meet again. I quit that shitty job. Thank you for being the catalyst to push me to finally leave. Close call in Ocean City. This happened around 2012, but I remember most of what happened clear as day. It's a long read, but a post to read earlier reminded me of this incident with people I never want to run into ever again. I work with my girlfriend at a busy restaurant. We worked all the time, and it was a stressful job. We took off a few days and decided to fly somewhere to get away from work, people, and the town in general, I guess. I found decent deals and flights to Ocean City, MD, for 2 nights. She had never been on a plane before. We loved the beach, and I could hit up all the local crab cake spots. It was perfect. We flew into Baltimore. I rented a car to drive to OC. Nothing memorable happened the first day. We laid on the beach, hit up all the local shop, and had forgettable food. The second day we woke up and went to the most recommended stop for crab cakes. And on the way back we stopped and got crab cakes to go from 2 other recommended places for later. We stopped by the hotel to drop the food off and went to the hotel bar for a few drinks. We go to the rooftop bar, and the bar itself is a 4-sided island in the middle of the patio. It's probably 2 p.m. and a clear sunny day. We pull up chairs, and there's only a few women on the left side of the bar, and a guy bartender behind it. We got obligatory house margaritas. After her first drink, my girlfriend felt like she wanted to smoke, but the girls and the bartender didn't have one to bum her. We got refills and schmoozed with the bartender about the area and things to do, but mainly kept to ourselves. The bartender seemed as if he was being fake. Something was off, and I couldn't just put my finger on it. A feeling of, oh, I really don't even want to run to the restroom and leave her here at the bar because I don't trust something. More than a few times, he asked if we were staying at that hotel. I said no, I think. My girlfriend said yes. He asked what room at one point. Girlfriend went to use the restroom. A minute later, I heard guys' voices. I didn't realize, but there was a group of 3 to 4 guys that sat at a table directly behind us. They were either playing cards or just smoking, but they made some comment to her when she walked back. Great. We finished our drinks, and we're Googling tropical drinks for her and area hotspots to check out. The guy came up on either side of us and talked to the bartender and got beers. You could tell they were either friends or regulars. I honestly couldn't tell you if they were there when they came to the bar or came after, but they had a sleazy vibe. Me and the girlfriend ended up talking to the only other couple at the bar that had come and sat down. It was nice to be away and just relax. We always liked making new friends. I didn't realize it, but one of the guys came up and either brushed up against my girl or made a comment, and it rubbed her the wrong way. So in her infinite wisdom, she wanted to be bothersome to them and got up and asked to bum a smoke. I didn't realize it until I turned around and there she was, talking to the guy with his shirt unbuttoned and gold chains hanging on his chest, hair forest. I didn't want her associating with them, but if one gave her a smoke, I would get the guy a beer if it meant we didn't have to leave the bar to hit a store for smokes. She came back without a cigarette, mad. Apparently, the guys kept asking, what's in it for us? And said, your boyfriend wants to fight us. Why would we give you anything? I didn't want to fight them. I was on vacation, and I wasn't paying attention to them. But I didn't like the implication of the other comments at all. Because we had a lackluster first day, I wanted to pack in fun things this day, so this drink was my last one. I asked for the tab, and the guy of the couple we met gave us his business card, said we should meet him and his girlfriend at Secrets at 8 p.m. The guys behind us kind of swarmed on all sides of us, and slammed down a pack of cigarettes, 2 smokes inside left, in between both me and the girlfriend. They said something like, here, and they ordered another round. We found it odd, but I thanked them, and offered a shot. I don't even think they replied. One asked if we were vacationing, then asked if we were staying at the hotel, then took the round of beers back to the table. I had a weird feeling, as if they were locals, and didn't like us, because we were visitors. Turning back to the bar, my drink was now completely full. Stupid me didn't even question it. I didn't want a refill, but figured the bartender taught me off. I took a sip, and the drink was strong. I just closed out. So maybe it was a thank you for the tip? It was disgustingly strong, like rubbing alcohol, maybe even turpentine. I told my girl to try it. Boozy Susie over here takes a huge pull from my drink and nearly spit it back out. It was gross. She made a face and said that it shouldn't taste like that. I couldn't even ask the bartender about it. He was gone. I don't know when he disappeared, but he was nowhere to be found. I can't remember if I fully finished the nasty thing. My girlfriend said something along the lines of, the guys are staring, let's go. I was originally worried she was going to chat them up and thank them before we left, but she said she felt weird. The whole vibe changed. She wanted out. I remember spending a minute or two saying goodbye to the couple we were going to meet later, and heading towards the doors in the hotel. The guys weren't at their table. Patio door, elevator, hotel room door, bed. My eyes open, and I turn my head right. The alarm clock reads 3 a.m. I am face down in bed, on top of the covers. I push myself up, slide back off the bed and stand up. The sliding glass doors are wide open, as are the screen doors to the balcony. There's a breeze. I think, did girlfriend jump off the balcony? And in that millisecond, I hear crying behind me. The girlfriend is sitting Indian style on the floor with a clamshell of what was $40 worth of crab cakes in her lap, crying. She said she couldn't wake me up. She asked me if I remember what happened. She said she had been sick and throwing up for 4 hours non-stop. What the hell happened? I bent over to sit down with her and was hit with a wave of sickness. I ran and was in that bathroom for hours puking. By the time I came out, she was asleep and passed out again. This had to be a bad dream. I remember thinking that maybe we went into the club and got wasted and I blacked out. I went back to bed. We both woke up at 7 a.m. to our alarms. We had to take the rental to Baltimore and catch a flight back. We both had to be at work at 2 today. I was shaking. She looked like hell. We both felt like death. She was shook. She said the walk back to the hotel room was scary and she didn't remember anything after. Wait, what? According to her, one of the guys was on the chair near the elevators. He said something to us, but the doors closed quickly. She said when we got to the floor, two of the guys were at the end of the hall, heading towards us. She said that we got into the room and they stood outside our door, and she thinks they knocked. Apparently, I laid on the bed and immediately was lights out. She couldn't wake me and passed out herself until she woke up to violently vomit for hours. My body was shot. I was shaking, and now I'm processing that these scumbags maybe followed us to our room. Part of me thought she was exaggerating, but you know how you had that weird slow motion flashback moment? Well, I was graying out of the way to the hotel room. I remember one of the guys being by the elevator. I don't know. Also, she was brushing her teeth. Her mouth was blue. I went to the mirror, so was mine, neon blue. Nothing we had that day was blue. I had light green margaritas and vodka and root beers. This was proof that something fishy had to have happened. We didn't know what to do. We had to get back. We couldn't stick around. We got to the car. I barely felt okay to drive, but I wanted to be home. We felt dirty. We were confused. And we wanted to MD and swore we would never come back. We missed our flight, explained the situation to the desk, and somehow got put on another flight back home. We sat in the airport for hours dying. The flight was painful too. We made it to work a few hours late that day, and nobody believed our story and thought we made it up, justify being late, and we kinda never brought it up again. I googled to see if similar situations happened and found nothing. We googled blue tongue and saw it was a side effect of a drug. I'll be honest, I felt lucky we made it out of OC. I don't know if we were a target of room invasion or robbery, if they wanted to kidnap or attack my girl. It could have turned out ugly in a lot of different ways. What if my girlfriend didn't take a huge swig? What if I drank the whole thing completely by myself? How close did I come to an OD or death, depending on the drug and its interactions with alcohol? I swear the bartender was in on it. I did call the hotel, and I asked if there was any issues with people being drugged or room robberies there, and they said no. They have 0 incidents, and I think I let it go. I emailed the hotel for a throwaway email I created and told them to watch the hotel roof bar and bartender and never got a reply. I realize I wrote a ton, but that's my story, and I think about it anytime someone brings up OC.